Are Great Unclean Ones any good? This is not a rhetorical question. Not only have you, my precious and valued commenters, asked me what I think of this unit, but a while back Zerkovich had a video proclaiming the Great Unclean One was underperforming when pinning it in melee against a Chaos Giant. Now, at the time I was doing my Beastman series, I knew perfectly well that the Chaos Giant had one job, to go bam bam on anything that moves. Something with more than one job logically shouldn't do as well as something specialized at the job of Bam Bam in an appropriate size and weight class. So, are they disgustingly good, or just disgusting? Let's take a closer look with noses pinched. Please like, subscribe, comment, and consider donating well-sprayed gold coins to my Ko-Fi treasury. I can use all the support in any form you can give. Thanks. For 2,000 to recruit, or 4,000 for Kugath to summon globally, and 500 upkeep per turn, the Great Unclean One weighs in at 11,360 health on Ultra. It has 50 armor, which isn't that much, 20% physical resistance, demonic standard level, leadership of 70, which is reasonable and solid, speed 36, well, it could be worse, charge speed of 50 for the record, melee attack begins at 55 and is magical attack as well as inflicting poison to the surprise of no one following this series. Attack interval is a respectable 4. Splash target size is large, and the maximum entities damaged by a single splash attack is limited to 12. This is indistinguishable from a giant and tells us that this most certainly is a blob killer in theory, and definitely given enough time. Melee defense is 45 default, and that's actually pretty darn good for a single entity. It's not the only one with a high defense, but this is good. Weapon strength comes in at 500 even, with 150 base damage and 350 armor piercing, a good, healthy split that makes it absolutely legit as an anti-character entity. There is no bonus versus large or versus infantry. Charge bonus is 20, which isn't that high, but hey, every point is welcome, and mass is 7,000, which is very, very beefy. Of course, this counts as a siege attacker, inflicts fear and terror, and has the demonic tendency to evaporate when routed. The unit also gets Cloud of Flies, so melee defense 45 goes up to 54 in short order. Obviously from the Zerkovich video, that only helps so much if a giant is wailing on you. In campaign, the current Kugath tech tree keeps farming out techs that accomplish some other purpose on the side, like increasing your faction's general chance to spread a plague, while granting bound spells to Great Unclean Ones as if they're Lords of Change, a mechanic I'm very familiar with from playing Kairos. The thing is, some of these spells are very expensive. Blight Boil non-overcast but for free is simply free damage against an enemy blob, and Rancid Visitations, for free, is a way to greatly increase your efficiency at killing a particular character, like Grimgor. Yes, he's still a great example of a stubborn character to get rid of. Besides this, the default unit, the one summoned by a cultist of Nurgle, is capable of using Stream of Corruption, the Breath spell, and Miasma of Pestilence, the debuff to charge speed and melee attack, which can help you a fair bit. In the Kugath-style Lord Redline skills, Filth Incarnate offers up to plus 15 armor and plus 6 melee defense, so that jacks up the Great Unclean One to 65 armor before physical resistance and 60 melee defense once Cloud of Flies kicks in. Rank 7 Walking Messes use Putrid Resistance to gain an extra plus 7 melee attack, 15% spell resistance, and 15% missile resistance. All welcome aid. The tech tree is all about adding bound spells, and I was remiss to mention Fleshy Abundance, a healing spell. Single target version, but entirely valid on the Unclean One himself. Also, Children of Nurgle at the very end of the tech tree, adds +1 to uses of the bound spells much like with Lords of Change. So how do you use them? Yes, there's that. You need to look at the bound spells as a bonus. They're great, they're a feature, but you can't go relying on them for 500 gold worth of upkeep and say, yep, it's good now. No, the value of this unit is what it can do for you prior to that point. It's important to look at this in the context of the broad potential of Nurgle heroes, and yes, even without the Exalted heroes, just the Cultists and Plague Bearers are really awesome. Just squishy. So where does that leave us? Let's bring the stat card up along with that of the Giant, shall we? What we see is that the Giant charges in harder, it hits harder, it has more health, it has a little base missile resistance, and that's great, and it has Wall Breaker, but funnily there is no poison like with basic Chaos Spawn available to Beastmen. It has ever so slightly less mass. Base melee defense is 30. All magic with the Great Unclean One should be treated as a bonus and something to work toward, but beyond that, I think the best concept is this. It's a control rod. You jam it into your frontline mosh pit to delay the enemy's efforts reaching critical mass. Even against dedicated anti-large infantry, it will tend to hold out a lot longer than the giant. Whether that's a little longer because the enemy isn't magical attack, or you are doing more damage despite enemy physical resistance, these are matchup dependent. No, you send the Great Unclean One in as a force multiplier, completely wrecking formations, doing massive splash damage, and adding heavy armor piercing where it is needed most, be it enemy monsters, elite cavalry, or even characters. It's still hitting very heavily, but it's built to last. Now, the magic really is a bonus, and you should abuse that as far as you can. Also, in general, the lore of Nurgle loves having single entities for the mad heals if nothing else. Past that, if there's something more hidden in here, well, there's one little thing and one larger thing. The little thing is that a Kugath personal skill pip reduces upkeep for Great Unclean Ones by 15% and adds Slime Trail to all of them, which is the debuff Beasts of Nurgle use to slightly slow and reduce melee attack in a small 15-meter hex. It's nice, it is far from decisive, but it still helps. The big thing is that this unit may not be that fast, but 7,000 mass is nuts. You'll never reach the same heights as with Scarbrand, I believe, but you should still make an effort to try and get this unit to run over opposition and treat it like roadkill. Even if that's not killing, just knocking it out of the way, disruption is one of the advantages of having a single entity. Try to maximize it and just shove stuff around on your way to your official target. Late campaign, it's like this. 2 Fleshy Abundance spells, 2 Rancid Visitations, 2 Blight Boils on any single Great Unclean One is ridiculous and amazing, and this is why I wanted to scream when I saw Zerkovich's video. Love the guy, but the Great Unclean One at campaign endgame has more than one job. It's not just clubbing people in the face. It's also delivering pestilent gifts straight from the Garden Beyond. The bottom line is that this is an extremely difficult nut to crack in melee. As with any single entity, like the Gallows Giant I'm preparing a video for, if you just stand there and let people shoot at you, of course the unit will be wasted. Get it in melee where it'll do real good and take care of the missile units separately. Or get a couple together and use the bound Blight Boil, right? Right? Take care, and have fun spraying the filth. There's something very childlike about it.